Hello and welcome to the Expat Pod and welcome to the shorter quick-fire questions version of the podcast. If you haven't already listened to the full episode with Ahad and I, do go and do that after this one, of course, and you'll hear the incredible discussion we've had about Ahad's life living in many amazing places. But Ahad, I guess my first question always is, where is your favourite place you ever lived?
It's difficult. That's the short answer. But to be really, really honest, I will have to say it. It has been the Netherlands. Wonderful country, wonderful place. Maybe it's recency bias. My daughter's here. I just can't imagine my life anywhere else right now.
That's a great reason, for family and maybe as you said, it's where you're currently living. A lot of your, I guess, current amazing moments have happened probably in the last 5 years, right? So
Definitely.
apart from getting married in Turkey, my next question then is, what's your favourite international food?
That's easy. Lebanese.
What about Lebanese food just takes that box for you?
It's comfort. When I was young in Saudi Arabia, we used to eat a lot of Lebanese food. Simple as that. Because as a Pakistani, you will never like Lebanese food. All of my friends don't. Because they're like, it's so bland, just like Turkish food. And I'm like, it's home. So my top three: Lebanese, Mexican, and then Thai, if I could choose internationally.
Wow. And just give us a quick kind of overview of what a Lebanese cuisine would have in it, if people aren't or maybe familiar with.
Oh, I would only tell you one thing. The rest can go away. One thing you need to try of Lebanese/Syrian is called tom. It's a garlic dip. It's a garlic sauce made. It's basically mayonnaise without mayonnaise but garlic instead. So the texture is the same, right? It's a white, creamy sauce just made with garlic and oil. That's it. So it's very fatty, very, very fatty, but one of the best flavors you'll ever have in your life. Hands down. The meat and everything is separate. It's tom that you need to have.
I'll go hunting for that because that sounds great. What's your favourite international tradition?
International tradition. I'm a very tradition kind of guy, to be honest. I really enjoy traditions everywhere. And what I've really, really enjoyed so far, to be fair, Saudi Arabia was very religious. So the pilgrimage is hands down one of the best feelings you can have if you're a Muslim or a practicing Muslim. Just that feeling, that sense of awe that comes when you're there in the holy city is just something else. But besides that, I think the best tradition that I like, which I didn't get to experience myself yet, is Cinco de Mayo, which is the Day of the Dead that happens in Latin America. I want to go there. And that's a story for some other day. I'm shocked that in 2 hours we didn't discuss it, but Mexico, I really want to go once, and I want to enjoy the Cinco de Mayo.
But when you go, we'll get you back on the podcast and we can do a special just on that.
You need to, because there's a whole story based on that. I actually got deported from Mexico once.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay, we can do an after hours podcast episode.
We have to do that later.
You can send me a WhatsApp voice note of the story and I'll play it now. What's your favourite thing about living abroad?
I would say diversity. So this is a Western mindset, to be honest, right? Because when you live in the West, you naturally have more diversity than you live in the East, right? Unless you live in Far East. So countries like Pakistan would be more homogenous in terms of their local culture rather than their international culture. And same with Saudi Arabia, although it's trying to modernize. Same with Turkey, quite Turkish, right? But here you have everything. You have East Asian culture, you have South Asian culture, you have Eastern European culture, you have Western European culture, you have American culture, you have everything in one place. And I love it. I love the fact that I can have authentic Thai food here, I can have authentic Japanese food here, I can have authentic Desi food here, which is South Asian food. And as you've realized so far in this podcast, food is really important to me. So that is why I really, really enjoy the diversity around me.
Yeah, it's incredible. That's the purpose of travel and living abroad, right? Is to experience all those cultures and that diversity and really get a flavour, for lack of a better expression, of all those incredible places and cultures that come together. Going on from that, then, what's your best homesickness remedy?
I think the biggest drawback of living in so many countries is that you don't know what to call home. So for me, I lived 8 years in Saudi Arabia, then 8 years in Pakistan, then 4 years in Turkey, and now I'm 5 years here, a couple of years back in Pakistan. So maybe 10 years, 11 years in Pakistan. So now what is home, right? So for me, it's difficult. But I think if I had to think about what reminds me of home, it's people. So if I'm missing Pakistan, I want to sit with Pakistani people. I want to talk to them about Pakistani things. I want to have fun with them. That really makes me feel like I'm home again.
Okay, so it's immersing yourself in the culture, or maybe, I don't know, you said like cricket is a thing we talked about before, and maybe the World Cup was on earlier on in the year, so watching that might have been a thing you did with other people from Pakistan, or even people from India or somewhere else who cricketing nations. Might have been a good way of scratching that itch.
Exactly. We are naturally a complaining society, frankly. And what you love about being with more Pakistanis is you just sit and complain together. That's what you do. You complain together about everything that's going wrong in your country, everything that's going wrong in this country, and everything else. And we just let it out of our system. And it's a safe space because the person in front of us also knows why we're doing what we're doing. Because if it's someone else, they won't know. They will be like, what is this ungrateful little person complaining about everything? Isn't he happy what he has? And you're like, we are happy. It's just that we need to vent just for the sake of it.
You need the outlet. You need the outlet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's good for your mental health to complain a little bit.
I think so. It grounds you because you can't be grateful for everything.
And going off that, what's the hardest thing about living abroad?
It's the realization that a part of you will be gone forever. So I felt this really, really strongly when my daughter was born, because I realized that she's not going to be Pakistani like me. She's not going to be Dutch or Afghan like her mother. She's going to be an amalgamation of everything. That means she's not going to be the same. And that is a scary thought, that I'm not going to be the same. A lot of my own cultural values I'm shedding in regards to building a new self-identity here. And yes, it is scary. It is hard.
I guess it's something that a lot of parents who have children abroad not feel, but you hope to keep the things which you hold dearly about your other cultures, but yourself, you've lived in 4 cultures now, that you can cherry pick the best of them and try and teach those to your daughter, in the hope that, you know, that new version of you and your wife together becomes a better version than both of you, you know, because of the lessons, learning from your mistakes and learning from the experiences you've got from all the different places you've lived in, right? You've seen what works and what doesn't work.
But that will not happen, because she will be more Dutch than anything else because she's living here. And that's fine. I think that's the thing. The hardest part is to accept it, because a lot of people here refuse to accept it. And what then they have? What do they have? They have a very sheltered family life in which they're closing their bubbles down and they're not letting their kids do anything in their lives. And then their kids either rebel or live in this constant identity crisis of sort in which they don't know who they are. And I don't want that to my daughter to feel that way. I know Pakistanis living in the UK who are more Pakistani than I am, like more conservative and religious than I am, and not now, like generally in Pakistan as well. And I was like, do you even know Pakistan? You guys are more strict than Pakistanis living in Pakistan right now. How is that possible? Well, that's possible because their parents moved in the 80s. And in 80s, these Pakistanis were the same strictness. But the people in Pakistan grew with the time, and these people in suddenly a very white and modern society conserved their culture, and then they grew up in the same place. So suddenly, like you like a time capsule, like now you're seeing their kids my age acting like 1980s Pakistanis, and you're like, what the hell is happening here? What are you doing? And that's the
progression.
Yes, and again, same thing. You understand their concern. They're trying to protect their identity. For them, it's intense. But it's not the right way. But you can't explain that to them because they're doing what they think is the right way and you can't stop them. And that's why the hardest part has been to accept and realize that, okay, I will give you a very good example of the conversation I had with my wife today. In our cultures, we don't have social security, right? We don't have social security whatsoever. Our children are our social security, right? In the UK, in the Netherlands, you have retirement. You get money, you're safe. In Pakistan, most people don't. They have kids. And they hope that we'll give our kids everything, and then our kids are going to pay us back and take care of us when we're old, which is, I think, a very beautiful thing. I think it's beautiful. I send money home every month.
Passing it forward.
Yeah, exactly. I send money every month to my family at home because I think it's my duty, my responsibility. It does not feel like a burden. And yes, they do need it to an extent. But even if they didn't, I feel like it's my responsibility because they raised me, right? That's also important. But my wife completely disagrees. She's like, we'll have a retirement. We'll have money because we live in Europe. It's not like we live in Pakistan where things will go bad. We will have our money if we save properly. Why do you want to force our daughter to give us money when she grows old? And I'm like, it's about responsibility and love. She's like, no, it doesn't sound like that. These are old ways. And I'm shocked. I'm shocked that she thinks of this way, and I'm still not processed. I still haven't processed it. I still believe she's wrong, but I'm trying to come to terms with it that maybe she's right. Maybe our daughter will not have to give us money, first, because we won't need it. But number two, maybe that is not the way that she will feel responsible. Maybe it will be something else. Maybe starting work at a younger age, because we don't work till the age of 22, 23 when we graduate, because we are pampered by our parents. They're like, just study, 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 and forget everything else. And that's why when we start working, we give money back immediately, because we're like, we enjoyed your house and your love for 20 years, 22 years. Now let us give back. But in this world, kids start working at the age of 12 at a supermarket. So they don't need to rely on you anymore. Yes, they still do, but they still get their pocket money directly through working. So it's a very different mentality suddenly, right? They don't need to rely on you for pocket money, while we had to ask parents for pocket money all the time. So it is different. It's difficult.
Yeah, I guess it's a case by case situation on personal finance and how comfortable you are. I get reasons for both. Maybe it's not financial support in the West, but it's emotional support we give. So we look after our parents and grandparents by, inviting them to stay at Christmas and New Year, or, having them stay in our house for longer when they retire, or if you have children, they become help with those and all that kind of stuff. It all becomes part of, maybe not financial support, but it's the idea of having a family and having that nucleus built together and keeping the whole thing together. It's difficult. It's very difficult for sure. What's the best phrase you've learned since living abroad?
That's a difficult one.
Any language?
That's a soup in my head. But the word that I love the most, the word that came into my head right now, I can't choose the word I love the most because it's going to take me some time. There are 4 different languages, so I have to think about. But if I had to choose, I would say 2 words, because the first one is technically cheating, because it's a word in Arabic, but we also use it in our own language in Urdu, but it's called inshallah. Right? Inshallah basically means if God wills, it will happen. Right? And that is a lovely phrase to just let go of control and just enjoy life fully. Will I get this job? Inshallah. If God wills, sure. Will I be able to do this? Inshallah, if it happens. And we also...
You're passing the responsibility on to a higher power.
And you're just living your life, because that's at the end what you need to do. And you don't need to pass it to God or whatever. You can pass it to nature. You can pass it to the world. You can pass it to whatever you want. It helps you understand that you are not in control, which I think is the truth. You're not in control. I don't believe that you need to believe in God to accept that, right? You are not in control. A lot of things are outside of your control, so just let that go. So that's the one word I really, really like. And the second word that I really like is in Turkish called punaya. And punaya just basically means, what the hell is this? And we used to say that to each other all the time. It is a punaya. And they're also very tonal language. So they would just make the noises also very loud, like punaya. And then you just love it. When they did it, when we did it to each other, we always loved it. And I think those 2 will be my really good phrases. But I think I have to still think about it. This is just on the spot.
Again, you can voice note me some more, and we can turn it into a side.
I think we need to do a voice note stitch together. I think.
Great. I've got some Turkish colleagues. I'll use punaya in the office tomorrow. What's your best way of making new friends?
I don't know how to. James, I think we did a whole podcast on this.
We spent a lot of time talking about on your podcast, I know. But...
Yes, I don't know. What I do is I help my way. That's what I realized. I do more, I give more than I ask, in the hopes that maybe we will make something out of it. So this sometimes means that I give more, which is unreciprocated, and I don't feel bad about it because it's unsolicited. You did not ask for this. I just gave it. And the Dutch people are very famous for this because they are very simple-minded. You would think of it as a very racist way of saying something, because you are literally demeaning a whole population to this, but that's actually true. They say that they're very simple-minded. Nakhtar is the word they say about themselves, that they're very simple-minded people. So if, for example, you are from our kind of a culture, Irani, Pakistani, Afghani, Indian, we're very hospitable people, right? To our detriment sometimes. So imagine if we sit next to someone and we have a bag of chips, we'll be like, would you want some? And we expect the person to say no, because we're just doing it out of courtesy. So they also need to just say out of courtesy no, because we don't want to share our food, but we will feel bad if we don't share our food.
We're obliged to.
But Dutch people say, if you don't want to share it, don't say it. If you do want to share it and I want to take it, I will take it. So what has happened a lot of times is to also happen to some of our friends here as well. They would just be like, hey, do you want some? And like they would point a croissant or something, hoping that the person either will say no or just take a piece. And it has happened on numerous occasions that they would just take the whole thing. And they will just eat it in front of you. And they say thank you. Because they're simple-minded people. so they'd just be like, okay, like, if you're giving it for free, I don't mind. And I'll just take it. So that happened.
Wow, that's an interesting insight into the Dutch mentality.
Yeah,
sure.
so that's exactly what I do. I try to give more than I take, and I hope that the person realizes that and also starts giving more. But as you
Try
can
and
see,
be a good friend first.
yeah. But mostly materially, because emotionally, no one opens up in this world anymore, right? So all you can do is material stuff.
I think they still do. It's just harder to find them in the wild.
But that's
That makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
You have to search deep for them. Maybe on like a Discord chat or something, probably. Or...
Yeah. That could be true.
What's the best thing to do in your new hometown city? So, what's your favorite thing to do where you live now?
Eindhoven. This is gonna be a joke because mostly I think your question is geared towards people who are more like in a very happening city, because this is a very small city. You don't really do much in this city. I think if I could plug something, it would just be improv. There's a whole vibrant, thriving improv community here in Eindhoven. So that's something people love doing here. I have my own, not my own, but a friend's philosophy circle, which she started, but I joined very quickly, and then we do it together. And she is a wonderful person, and it's mostly her thing. It's a philosophy group in which every 2 weeks you meet and debate ideas. And I love that. And
very expansive for the mind.
Every time you leave that, you're like, shit, why did I come here?
I do nothing.
Yeah, it's always fun. Yes. And I really enjoy that. So those are basically what I'm trying to say, is that in these kind of cities, when you're not known for something, besides PSV, who just won like the Eredivisie, they won the Dutch Football League, you make your own little communities of doing stuff. And there's vibrant communities of everything. These are just ones I'm involved in. But there's much more. And also, if you're into ASML and semiconductors, Eindhoven is the place to be.
It's very niche. And my last question is always, what's your best expat life hack?
This will not be sounding like an expat life hack. I just think this is a general life hack. So if you allow me to share that, I would love to. Always be open to learning. As an expat and as a person, if you're not open to learning, your life will be difficult. Right? Open to learning new cultures, open to learn new things. My whole career that I've built on is only based on me willing to take some online courses 8 years ago, 9 years ago, just because I was like, what will happen if I learn about data? And I did not do any formal education in data. It was all economics and econometrics, but it was mostly my online studies that I did to learn more things about data and everything. So that's what I would say. Be open to learn, be open to understand each other, and not just be tolerant, be critical of each other and learn from each other.
That's a great answer. And I think a lot of people should really be definitely trying to be open-minded and learning it. There's always something new, and especially in today's world where everything's changing so fast. And I'm sure our parents said that when they were young, everything was changing so fast, and our grandparents and everyone. It's all about perspective, right?
It's all about perspective.
So yeah, no, that's a great thing to do, and I like to use stay curious as well. It's probably a synonym for always be learning. But
yeah,
opportunity to expand your horizons is always wonderful.
100%.
But thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. It's been a long call, but one which has flown by for me. It's always
100%.
great to talk to you and really kind of speak to someone who I think has similar values and similar approaches to a lot of problems. Maybe we differ in opinion, but it's come from a place of wanting to learn and wanting to expand our minds and hopefully improve whoever's listening to this as well. You learn a lot of things about how I had travels and experiences abroad and taking away some amazing information. If you have, let us know in the comments. Please do share it with your friends and family or anyone you might know who is on the journey of living abroad or, has done 30 years ago and wants some nostalgia. It's always quite nice, right?
100%.
Yeah. And hopefully we will see you next time for the Expat Pod.